Back here with Danny, Adam, and center of attention, the center between us as well, is we've got an offensive lineman, a Super Bowl winning offensive lineman at that, Marshall Newhouse. Thank you so much for taking the time, man. How are you?
Appreciate you guys having me. I'm great, man. This is a nice energy boost. Seeing people here that you haven't seen all year, all the football media. It's a fun time for sure.
You've been bouncing around, sure, from interview to interview, table to table. Now, as someone who is doing more and more media and looking to do more and more media, I mean, is it fun? Is it invigorating? Is it, or is it just like, are you gassed? Are you tired?
As the years go on, it's more work and less fun, but I still find a good time to be had. You make friends with people over the years, and you get to reconvene with them if you don't see them during the year. And listen, I love being around football still. I played in the NFL for 11 years, so it's still fun to kind of come and reminisce. And obviously, I was a player. I didn't get to ever do this, but this is a whole other side of it, so I enjoy it.
Yeah, what's the vibe a little bit differently, I guess, just in the prep from when you were in the Super Bowl compared to what you see some of the guys doing now? Like you said, you don't obviously participate in this, but everything else surrounding it, is it a big difference, or is it still close enough to where it's not too much of a change?
It's still pretty much the same. Like, after the AFC and NFC championships, you get a full week of just like normalcy where you're practicing, you probably get an extra day off, and you stay in your routine, and then you travel the week of the Super Bowl. And, I saw Vrabel was trying to find some normalcy. They went to Stanford and had their normal kind of practice. He's a guy who has experience in Super Bowls. Josh McDaniels does. And you try to find whatever feels like home, whether that's your routine or the location or whatever, and you just try to make it as normal as possible, fully knowing this is just not normal. Right. Yeah. And so, you, especially the young guys, you guys who've never been there before, you're just trying to stay in routine as best you can so that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday all feel like they felt for the previous 17 weeks.
Well, teams like the Patriots and Seahawks that are in this game, I mean, it's littered with players that have never been through anything like this before. In some cases, won their first playoff game of their careers this very year. Yep. So when you were going through it as a player and obviously on the way to being a Super Bowl champion, was there anyone that could kind of, I don't know, almost shield you from a lot of the madness and allow you to help focus and treat it as a normal period of time?
I think generally because we were in Green Bay, that kind of shields you there on its own. It's a small place. Obviously, every time we'd won a playoff game, we'd come back and that small regional airport was full of fans, and it was a big deal to them. But being in that city before you came here, it just normalized everything. So there wasn't, we ended up going to Dallas, funny enough, where I'm from, for our Super Bowl, and it just normalized everything. By the time we got there, it was kind of business as usual. And, luckily we had a really veteran team and guys just kind of didn't make it too big deal out of it. And honestly, they put all their focus into the prep practices. We still had physical practices the week of the Super Bowl, which varies from team to team. And you just try to normalize as much as possible. And as a rookie, it was my rookie year, you're just like, everything is new. So you're bewildered a little bit, but you just follow the lead of the older guys.
Yeah. Is there anybody in this NFL stage right now where you're looking at as a former offensive lineman going, man, I'd love to get the chance to block this guy? Or at the same time, I guess it could be, I'd hate to try to block this guy.
Listen, I mean, this entire Seattle defense, it's different, obviously, than the Legion of Boom, but they play as such a unit. I don't even know if they have a superstar like Nick Emmanuel has emerged as a rookie, but I don't know if they have just a superstar. But as a defense, man, they hunt so well together. Mike McDonald has them prepared every game. And they bring you so many different looks. And so they'd be a nightmare to play against. And I think they're going to give the Patriots offensive line, especially the left side, a little bit of trouble on Sunday. I never went into a game scared of anybody, but you understood, their strengths and what our game plan was. And so they would be a tough team to prepare for sure.
What do you feel like, again, doing this, and you've done it for years, but, in your position as someone that obviously is doing media and wants to do even more media, as mentioned before, what do you feel like you're not talking about enough this week? What's the storyline that is under-discussed?
I think I've heard a lot of talk about, Seattle running away with this, and I just don't feel that way at all. Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels have too much experience between them to allow that from the Patriots standpoint. Mm-hmm. I think Drake May has been playing a little banged up. I think he'll be healthier and will be more of a threat with his arm and the accuracy and the deep ball plays down the field. I still think this game is hinging on what the Patriots defense could do to Sam Darnold or lack thereof. Mm-hmm. When he plays like we saw him play last week and really not even a ton of yards, ton of touchdowns, but mistake-free, blunder-free, the Sam Darnold who we thought would always turn into a pumpkin. If he doesn't play like that guy, I see this game as Seattle winning, but close. if Patriots defense can kind of slow down Kenneth Walker in this run game and make Sam make 2 to 3 mistakes, critical mistakes, I think they'll be right in it. I think Drake May will rise to the occasion. Josh McDaniel will have a game plan to protect his young QB, but let him flourish and let it fly a few times. And if they can turn the ball over for Seattle a couple times, they'll make this a game. So I think it's going to be Seattle will still win, but it'll be a very, very close game.
What's been fascinating to watch with the Patriots is the development of their rushing offense throughout the course of the season. I mean, you look at Ramondre Stevenson, he obviously had some fumble issues, but now he's really getting into a rhythm at the right time. How does that sync up so late in the season? Certainly offensive line play, his down alone, but like how does that combination end up working out so late?
Listen, it could just be reps. It takes a long time for guys to gel. I think, between Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, they're two different backs. And so you call runs in two different kind of ways. I think Ramondre is a more downhill guy. The Patriots call a lot of A-gap runs early on in downs, early on in drives. And then I think Travion Henderson thrives with more outside zone and pin and pull plays. And so you have to match up when those guys are on the field and let those guys kind of get into a rhythm. But it's hard when you're kind of exchanging carries. And so if you're the Patriots, I think play action on first down will be a big deal. I don't know if Josh McDaniels will kind of stray from that because they like to run on first down. They like to kind of establish the line of scrimmage early on. And so we'll see who they use. I think Travion Henderson is not as trustworthy in pass protection, so you'll see more Ramondre Stevenson. He's actually gotten most of the carries in playoffs. And Vrabel, to me, is the quintessential guy. It's like, I trust my older guys who aren't going to screw up. And I need to know I can trust you. And so that, to me, tells me Ramondre Stevenson. But this offensive line, I think, on early downs, can they get 3-4 yards and kind of keep the team ahead of schedule and not have second and long, third and long, and make Drake May pass, drop back to pass, and make Will Campbell drop back and pass protect without it there being a run threat. And so it'll be very interesting to see how they use the running backs and then how that relates to the pass game for offense.
We spent a week of listening to the mouth breathing in the media about Drake May's shoulder, Drake May's shoulder. To me, this has always been kind of a non-story.
Yeah.
Now, maybe he goes out there, doesn't look right, and I got to take all that back. But at least right now, I don't think it's a big deal. Right. I mean, is there anything that you feel like we're just over-dramatizing as we wait 2 weeks for this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a vacuum, and it gets filled with something. And so I think, I think the storylines of Seattle running away with this are just like getting overblown. Listen, the Seattle Legion of Boom team that beat the Peyton Manning Broncos was a different animal.
Yeah.
This is not that.
Right.
They're really good. I think Sam Darnold played exceptionally well. Mike McDonald has them flying around on defense. And I love Clint Kubiak. I've been following the Raiders. He's an incredible hire for them. So they'll be dialed in. I think they'll play their best game. But there's too much experience between Vrabel and Mike McDaniel and Josh McDaniels to not let this Patriots team be ultimately prepared for everything that Seattle's going to do. And so they're going to try to, me, shorten the game in small little ways. That doesn't mean they're going to bleed the clock the whole time. But you, as the best coaches, know, hey, if we're a little outmatched here, how do we give their potent offense less at-bats? And then how do we shorten the game? It gives our guys less chance to make a mistake. And so I think Mike Vrabel, being not a defensive play caller or offensive play caller, he is so dialed into game management from, being able to challenge plays and buttering up the refs and talking stuff like that and knowing when to go for it. He's got such an advantage in that regard. I think that makes a 1, 2, 3 point swing for your team at the end of the day.
If you had a chance to return to the NFL this year, one system, one quarterback, who would you want to block for?
Oh, man. Wow. Listen, any of the McVay, Shanahan tree guys, I would love to have played for. Just they're so intuitive and intentional with how they call plays, and they formation variation, pre-snap motion. It helps you as a lineman because you're like, this guy understands that dropping back to pass 40 times a game is not in anyone's best interest. How do we mix that up? How do we establish a run game, use our guys in the best chance that we can give them, and put together an entire game plan that makes sense? Not calling plays early on the game that have nothing to do with plays you call later in the game. They set stuff up. And to me, it's not a coincidence that these guys are getting hired from this tree, because it's not that they're all the same. There's an intentionality and a logic behind the way they call plays. And it's not overly analytic. It's not overly getting ahead of yourself or thinking too much. But again, intentionality. And I would love to have played for those coaches. I think they make all their guys better. And listen, they're going to keep winning. And if they keep producing disciples, to me, that's a direct correlation to how successful they can make it.
How about a prediction for the game?
I still think Seattle wins, but I think it's like a 6-point game. I think it's close.
So there's no former Patriot bias in here.
No, and I played for Vrabel when he was in Tennessee, and I played for Josh McDaniels with the Patriots. Love those guys. I think they'll have the team prepared. I think Seattle, top to bottom, has just been the better team, and they've played. And listen, the reason the Ravens, I think, made such a push to figure out the Harbaugh situation and go get Jesse Minter was they saw Mike McDaniel in their building. Listen, they weren't going to fire Harbaugh after that season they had when Mike McDonald took this job in Seattle, but they're not going to let another guy who they groomed not come back and be a Raven. So the Jesse Minter thing makes a lot of sense, which tells me Mike McDonald is such an elite coach at this level. I just think he has his guys prepared, and I like Seattle a lot. They've done such a good job this year, and especially with Sam Darnold. I mean, it's just like turning that guy who a lot of people wrote off into a game time quarterback is such a huge deal.
Where can our viewers find your media work right now?
I'm on all the socials, and I do the Just Win podcast if you want to follow the Raiders with Ted Wynn and I. And then I'm on I do TCU college football games and a lot of bowl games. So find me on radio broadcast with Varsity, tune in, and sometimes on Sirius.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Marshall Newhouse, again, Super Bowl champion. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
Appreciate the time, Marshall. That was great.